Hi, I'm Eric Barth here for a YBA Father's Day special here with my dad, Barry Barth, and my grandpa, Rudy Barth. And we're here to talk about some of our favorite sports moments. So I'm going to start with you, Barry. Has a sports moment ever changed your life?
Has a sports moment ever changed my life? I would say maybe, because there's been such great memories watching some games, especially championship games, that you carry with you with the rest of your life. So I'd say, yeah, there's been memories that have been life-changing.
And Grandpa, has there been a sports moment that's ever changed your life?
A sports moment that changed my life? Well, I can't remember one. Well, when I first came to America, I became a baseball fan, and I guess that did change my life. I remember listening on the radio to every ball game that the New York Giants played. I used to watch Red Barber, listen to Red Barber on the radio. This is before television. And then I had a friend in New York, in Richmond Hill, where I lived. They had a store, an appliance store. And I used to stand in front of the store. They used to put out televisions. Was the days when television first came around. I used to stand outside the store and watch the ball game on television when I was I guess about 14 or 15 years old. This is one of the days before there was really, television was just coming in. Yes,
All right, so now back to you, Dad. What is the most courageous sports performance you've ever seen?
Oh, that's tough. I got to tell you, that play in the Bruins game a few nights ago, and I can't remember the player's name right now.
Gregory Campbell?
When Gregory Campbell broke his leg, blocking a shot, which may have won the game for them, saving that shot, that was really courageous. Another one I remember was, it was a playoff game in the late 80s. The Celtics were playing the Indiana Pacers, and Larry Bird, this was, I think, 88, he was pretty banged up by then, just whacked his head on the floor in the first half, and everybody thought he was done. And then he came back out of the locker room in the third period, and the crowd went wild, and he came in and led them to a victory, which was incredible. So that one I remember also.
Grandpa, what's the most courageous sports performance you've ever seen?
Greatest sports performance?
Most courageous.
Most courageous sports performance? I can't remember anything. I think it's when Willie Mays made the famous catch in the World Series over the head. He caught the ball. He was facing the outfield, and he caught the ball like this, and it was an amazing
Do you remember that
catch.
one? The one, you've seen it, you don't even
I've
remember
seen it,
it.
yeah.
Where he's running away from the home plate towards center
He was
field?
running away from home plate, and he could have made a basket catch.
No, actually, can I ask, I got a question for you. So everybody says that's such a great play because they got video of it, which was unusual. Yeah. But back when it happened, was that considered one of the greatest plays ever? When the play happened, back when that year when it happened, did people consider that one of the greatest plays ever?
Yes, that was considered. Well, even today they still talk about that play. It was a great play. Well, it was a critical play. It was a very important catch. It changed the whole complexion of the game.
All right, and now, has a sports moment ever moved you emotionally, Dad?
Yeah, there's been emotional moments. There's, I remember back to Miracle on Ice. That was really an emotional one because the whole country was so behind that, and there was just things going on between the United States and Russia. And here you had these college kids who, talent-wise, were nothing compared to the Russians. But they all got together and played the best game they possibly could, and beat some of the greatest hockey players in the world. So that was one I remembered. And sports in general is such an emotional thing. Just remember even last night watching the end of that Bruins game with a group of people, how happy everybody is, how excited. That's one of the great things about sports. It is the emotion. It's the emotion of winning or losing a close game. It's all good stuff.
And Grandpa, has there ever been a sports moment that moved you emotionally?
Oh, that was what?
That moved you emotionally?
Oh, I don't know. I guess I was at the Polo Grounds on December 7th, 1941, when I didn't realize it at the time how important that was. But that's when the Japanese Japs bombed Pearl Harbor, and they announced it over the loudspeakers that we had just been bombed. That was a very emotional moment. But I didn't realize it at the time how important that was. Yeah.
It's interesting. That reminds me of another one. I remember, you may remember this, after September 11th, they canceled some baseball games in New York, which was the right thing to do. And I remember then President Bush coming out and throwing the first pitch, opening pitch at a Yankees game, and that was a pretty intense moment.
I think another good moment is from this year after the Boston bombings, when the Bruins game,
right.
when everyone sang the national anthem together. It was a great moment.
That really
too.
was, and we were at the Red Sox game.
Red Sox game the next
day after
yeah.
they caught the bomber, and that was
Big
that was
Poppy with his speech. Yeah,
that
was great.
That was pretty emotional.
All right, and what was the most meaningful victory to you that you've ever seen in sports?
The most meaningful victory. I'm trying to think one. You know what? That's a tough one. I'm going to say that the Patriots' first Super Bowl victory, because that was just such a huge deal. He had, a player like Tom Brady, who back then really came out of nowhere. Just, a 6th-round draft pick, his second year. Bledsoe, who's considered one of the great quarterbacks then in the game, goes down. He comes in, carries the team through the rest of the season. They were just tremendous underdogs playing the Rams in that Super Bowl. And it was a great game, and they won it on a great play with just seconds remaining. So that was really a meaningful one for me. That one kind of sticks out.
Grandpa, what was the most meaningful victory you've ever seen in sports?
What?
The most meaningful victory?
Well, I think it's when the Red Sox won the World Series the first time. I forget what year it was.
2004.
What?
2004.
2004. They had. That was the year of the end of the curse, what they call it, the curse of the Bambino, and then they were, I believe, they were 3 games down, and then they came back to win the next 4 games, and win the World Series. I think that was one of the most emotional things I ever had that I remember. Yeah, right.
I would agree with that also, because I wasn't alive for I wasn't alive for Bucky Dent or Bill Buckner, but I remember growing up in New England, all you hear about is, oh, this is going to be our year, it's all behind us, but never thought it actually happened, and then 3 games down to the Yankees, they came back.
Well, I remember, we have so many Red Sox memories over the years, and that's a good one. 2004. Not so much the World Series, because it's great that they won, but they won that in 4 games. But to win the ALCS the way they won it, that was incredible. And I'll even go back in my lifetime. Yeah, the '86 team, that was very emotional in not such a good way. I remember how upset I was when they lost Game 6 of the '86 World Series, and then going back to '78, the Bucky Dent team. There was a lot of upsetting emotion back then also. Yeah. But I can barely remember when I was 5 or 6 in 1967, the Impossible Dream team that wasn't supposed to win the pennant. And this was back when the Sox had been bad for years and years and years. And I actually remember one of my youngest childhood memories is being at a neighbor's house watching the Red Sox clinch the pennant in 1967. I don't even remember that, but that's one of my first memories. That was a great team. And then they played... They lost to, who did they lose to that year?
The Cardinals,
in 7 games.
I think?
They lost to the Cardinals in 7 games.
And then I remember when, I forgot which year it was again, but when Bill Buckner missed that...
86.
86.
66?
86.
86. When, we thought there were... I was just going to go down. We were watching up in our den, and I was ready to go down to the basement to bring Grandma a drink, and I was going to have a drink because the Red Sox won, but they lost after that. After Bill Buckner made missed the ball.
I think a lot of people
threw his legs. Yeah, I remember that. That was good.
I remember even in the locker room, they were ready to start pouring champagne. So there was all those Red Sox emotional wins. And, a lot of the Celtics over the years had, I've got some pretty good memories of all those great teams in the 80s and those great series with the Lakers back and forth. And the years they won, how great that was. And the years they lost, how tough that was. And I also have another childhood memory, which came back to me this week, was the Bobby Orr teams of the early 70s.
Wow.
Those were great teams, and I was just a really little kid. I remember begging Nana to let me stay up and watch the Bruins playoff games. Because Bobby Orr was really one of the great athletes, I think, of my lifetime, who I ever saw play. When he would take the puck out from behind the net and skate the length of the ice, that was rare. That was rare. That's something nobody else was able to do like him.
Yeah, I remember when he was flying across the goal line. They took a picture that he was flying across the goal line as the winning goal went in there.
They have a statue of that now outside the garden.